so we're just gonna start.
Let's just start. Okay, that's
Yeah,
fine. Everything works.
how are you doing?
I'm excellent. I
Oh,
am excellent.
I
Thank you
feel
for
I feel
asking.
like oh sorry, I'll keep interrupting.
Well, how
I
are
feel
you?
I'm good. Oh man. There's so much. It's so interesting because you're asking me now and I feel like I'm gonna share how I am like generally, which means I make no sense of the world in general. I don't understand what's happening. None
Fair?
of it makes sense. I cannot think too far ahead about anything because it doesn't make sense. Stuff like that. Just, just your general everyday kind of thing.
Okay, but generally fair and
Generally,
well and good, right?
yes. Generally, I find everywhere I go and everything I do, I find a reason to be grateful for something and to
Mm-hmm.
be present and to change that thing of I have to or I need to into I get to,
I
you know?
get to, yeah, everything's a choice. Just
Yeah.
that those key words just totally pivots
Yes.
everything. I like that.
So where are you? Because you said you're somewhere where it's out of your control. But
Uh,
I don't know whether I want to start there. But go on, tell me where you are.
Well, whatever. This could be the beginning of the interview. Like
I
where's
guess
Nexus
it's not gonna be an interview per se.
or
I'll guess. It's just
podcast, whatever you
what
want
is
to
the
call it.
conversation we're doing. It's not. It doesn't have a certain structure. It doesn't have certain things in particular that I'm gonna ask you. Whatever the conversation goes, that's where we're gonna go.
Okay. Well, then the moment you press record, then this is perfect because it's already like
Yeah.
doing its thing. Right now I'm in Austin, Texas,
Right.
in an Airbnb that I'm renting. So because I'm renting it, I'm not sure what I don't know the schedule of other neighbors and
Mm-hmm.
that kind of stuff. So like, who knows, the Saturday mornings they could be
Whatever's going
cutting the
down.
grass or just
Mhm.
start playing loud music. So who knows?
Yeah. Okay. I'm gonna wanna ask a little bit, I guess, about what got you to Austin, but then I want to know a little bit about you. First of all, I'm very impressed of the fact that there's no technical issues going on because normally with you, you flick some switch somewhere. Don't do it. And something goes wrong.
Mhm.
Something just freezes or stops or whatever. But can you tell us a little bit about you? And I don't know, whichever way you
Well,
want.
that's a loaded question because I'm still in the process of discovering myself.
Yeah.
Um, so Nexus James, that's me. I used to be in the corporate world, grew up on a dairy farm, worked all my life, and now I hate it or hated it. And so I made a change. So I don't know, 2 or 3 years ago, I had the fleeting thought of I want to have full control of my time. And I just want to go places and hang out.
Mm,
And that's exactly what I'm doing now. I'm going places and I just hang
hang on.
out. And coming to Austin, that was in the plan, but not in the plan
Mhm.
because I'm involved in a men's coaching group and an annual one. This I've been in it for 3 years, and twice a year we get together in person. And this our spring meetup, we voted for Austin.
Mhm.
So I'm originally from Pennsylvania, and I was spending time in Pennsylvania at the time, and I'm like, oh yeah, Austin. Well, I like to drive everywhere, but Texas is pretty far from Pennsylvania, so not beyond my reach. But I was like, maybe I'll fly, maybe I'll drive, maybe I'll fly, maybe I'll drive. Eh, But I wasn't settled on either decision. And then uh, early April, oh no, it was late March. I was trying to decide on what to do because weather was getting warmer, and then this idea popped in my head of, well, actually, I was wintering at my parents' house because they were in Florida.
Oh, nice.
And so I was spending time there, house sitting basically,
Mm.
free rent too. So um, they were coming back. And then I'm like, this isn't going to work. I get to figure I get to figure something out. And then that's what the idea popped in my head about going to the Dr. Joe Dispenza event in Dallas.
Mm-hmm.
And I wasn't registered.
Mm-hmm.
So then I thought, well, you know what? I'm going to go to that. And then I got really excited about that idea. So, when the body's excited, like trust that. So within 2 days, I had a roommate on
Oh,
site. Everything was planned, and then that kind of set the driving thing into motion. Like,
mm,
okay, I'm driving there for sure because I'll drive to Dallas and then I'll drive to Austin. So I did the event and then hung out for a week in Dallas. Now I'm in Austin, met up with my men's group, and my coach, the facilitator, he's like, you know, I could see you living here. I could
oh,
see you
wow.
living here, James. And then the more I thought about it, I think I can stay.
Mm,
So I booked a place for 2 weeks and I'm exploring. Now, if I would have flown, it would have been the day after. Like I got to catch a flight, I got to get back,
mm-hmm.
all that flying nonsense. And that's the one big thing that I enjoy about doing what I've been doing lately, and especially last year when I went on my road trip. I don't have a timetable to return.
Mm-hmm.
So usually people like maybe have a 2 week window, like, oh, I want to float and I'm going to do, but there's always that end point.
Yeah, yeah,
Like, I got to go back. I don't
yeah,
have to.
yeah.
I can choose to, which I'm choosing to because my nephew's birthday is in August. So I'm choosing to return, but that's not a have to.
I mean, it's what are we now, May? So you've got a couple of months, more than a couple of months
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
travel back.
And the place where I'm here, um, curiously, the lady that's the host, she she messaged me also. I don't know how long you're staying, but I'm trying to get out of my lease and I'm looking for someone to take over my lease and it ends in June. So I think there's that possibility
Uh-huh.
because I get to be in Montana in July for a meetup there to go hiking. So I mean that would work. We're gonna meet for tea and discuss that, but it's yeah, it's just,
Flo-
I'm all
Tell
over
me
the place.
about your life. Oh, I freaking love it, to be honest. It sounds like you're just a butterfly going from place to place wherever life takes you at the moment, anyway.
Well, there's a little bit of structure to it
Mm.
because I, I'm being very present, doing my best to be very present, and and following the nudges that come my way.
Mm-hmm.
So like the Airbnb, like maybe you could see yourself here. Like so, the one I picked, like,
Yeah.
the the decorations are very zen, very meditative. There's books about meditation and body healing, and there's plants everywhere. So I mean, it wasn't a typical sterile Airbnb.
Yeah, yeah.
So and then I just happened to mention some things to the host, who she just happened to mention that she's trying to get out of her lease. So like those are nudges.
Mm-hmm.
Like like hey, check this out. But yes, sometimes I do the other butterfly thing, like, oh, I'm gonna go over here. I'm gonna go over here.
What was Joe Dispenza? I mean, first of all, what number was that? Because I know you've been to so many now. What number was this one? 755.
I love it because when he talks sometimes. He'll say like, I've been to all of them because
Mm-hmm.
that's
Mm-hmm.
normally what people talk about. And this was number 13 for me,
Oh, wowzer.
and it was a week long. So well, I know you know, but for anyone watching, like there's week longs and there's AFUs, so you
Mm-hmm.
have to do the work to get into the AFU. But the week long, higher probability, well, the only probability, there's newbies there, and 75% of the registrants were new,
Oh, wow.
and there were 2,000 some people there. So what's that? 1,500?
Wow.
Only 500 were returning, give or take
Mm-hmm.
a couple. But um, typically, I get annoyed with that question.
Why?
Well, this was part of the expansion, I guess, because first of all, I was nudged to go to that event. So
Right.
that changed everything. And yes, I did think about it, but then I got excited and then I went later. Um, Typically when I go, like, oh, that one's in September, that will work, I'll make that, or this one's in February.
Yeah.
And so this was a 2 weeks prior decision.
Mm-hmm.
And I let it slip that I've been to 13, and we were, I don't know, at breakfast or lunch or something. Well, how many you been to? When did you get into the work? So, and typically I hate that question because then it's usually like, oh wow, oh my God, you must walk on water,
Yeah.
and or like, do you feel bliss all the time? And
Mm-hmm.
sometimes people ask me questions that I got annoyed with because like, you should know this if you do the work, like that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And what shifted for me this time was first of all, the information was out. So especially in my group, and then we were at lunch, and someone would have a question, and they're like, talk to that guy. He's been to 13. So I noticed I went a subtle shift from, well, not subtle, but like from keeping to myself an annoyance
Mm-hmm.
to being in service, like
Right.
using my skill set, and it was unofficial in capacity completely, but I stepped into a leadership role and a mentorship role because people had questions.
Mm-hmm.
Like, well, what about this? Or I've had this experience. I'm like, yeah, I'll tell you a story. Here's what happened for me. Maybe you can relate. And I embodied the work in a completely different way. It
Mm-hmm.
was it was fun because we can hear things and like, okay, that's an interesting concept, but like talking to about it to someone else and then tying in personal experiences, like for whatever reason, that just cemented in differently for me.
Mm-hmm. So you're a freak of nature, basically. A little bit. A little bit.
Little
Tell
bit.
me about this. Tell me about this men's group that you're part of. I know nothing about it. I mean, I've seen some posts maybe on Facebook here and there, and
Yeah.
I also want to talk about your scoop ice cream. What's it called? Scoop of something, something,
Go
something.
on. Go on. I have to talk to the marketing department.
Scoop of
Uh,
I don't know.
Scoop of clarity.
Oh, there we
Scoop.
go. Scoop of
Yeah.
clarity. Yeah, you're gonna have to tell me a bit about that. But first, about this men's group and how
Um,
you became part of it and what do you guys do?
I've been in it for a number of years. So the facilitator, his name's Michael DeSanti, and I met him at a weekend workshop in 2018, and he co-facilitated this workshop, and there were just a handful of us, and I, I had tremendous breakthroughs, and it was very beneficial. So I started following the guy, and he just, just certain people just have something about them. Like,
Mhm.
I get to stick near this person. So a couple months later, he announced that he was having this first trip of his to Montana, and I had never been to Montana.
Mm.
So, and it sounded interesting. I liked walking, but I never was really into hiking or anything. So then I connected up with him and went to this trip in Montana, and it was amazing because we did hiking, and that's what I'm going to Montana for here in July is this same trip. But like, men don't connect, really.
Mm.
Men lone wolf it.
Mhm.
They got to do everything on their own, or men white knuckle things until they drop over with a heart attack. Like, then everything's forced. Like, this isn't working and I'm miserable, so I'm going to double down on it and do more of it. It
Mhm.
doesn't work. So a lot of it's, you know, camaraderie with men, but there's certain things that just, like fatherhood or being a brother or being a husband, or everyone's in their different walks of life, different seasons of life. So it's good to relate and would share in a group. Like, someone is having a certain struggle, and then of course Mike offers coaching about it, and he just has this almost soothing late night radio voice when he talks, and it's just amazing. Like, I can't listen enough. And while we're doing something else, someone like, hey, when you were sharing, a couple years ago, I did something like this. So it brings people together, and we
Mhm.
can learn from one another. And it was amazing. Shortly thereafter, or maybe a year after or something, he wrote a book and put a lot of that wisdom into print. And then associated with the book was a course to dive deeper into it, and then practice the principles. So the
Mhm.
book was New Man Emerging, and then the course was Find Your Tribe. And 8 weeks or 12 weeks, I think. So I went through that. We practiced the principles. We started developing um, started developing, yeah, our principles, our code, so to speak, that we live by, and living in our commitment, being our word, which I already did, but it was a good reminder. And then after to Find Your Tribe, I don't know, a year later, 2 years later, he came up with this inner council. So guys that wanted to continue like this mentorship, that had been through the Find Your Tribe, we can continue. So that's what I'm in now, and it's been 3 years. And we meet once a week, every Friday, and we have a theme of the month. And it's funny that you said, when you started, like, I'm so grateful that these things are happening, and everything's magic. And that's our theme for the month, is gratitude. Is, what can we be grateful for? And gratitude is seeing value no matter what.
Mhm.
Thankful is, being thankful, like, when things come out in our favor. Like, oh my God, I'm so thankful I stopped and bought that lottery ticket. I'm now a millionaire. Well, of course, but gratitude would be like, I'm so thankful, or I'm so grateful I stopped to buy that lottery ticket, even though the person at the pump backed into me, and now I get to go to the car dealer and get my car fixed. Like, be
Yeah.
grateful when things go astray.
Now you mentioned the car bump, and I'm gonna interrupt your story there because you mentioned that. Have a sip before I ask the question. You gotta speak again. You mentioned the car bump and things, and I know you've been. Was it two accidents that I'm aware of, or just one, and I remember wrong? And I know
Two.
there's some maybe just one. Oh my God! I hope I'm not putting something else into
We'll
existence.
just we'll just
It was just
cancel
one.
that.
Was it just okay? Cancel that one. So just one. It was just one. Tell the story of that, because I know there's so much to take out of it,
Oh
like
my
how
God.
things happen for you, if you want to. That is, of course, you can skip this question and move. We can move to the next one. But now that you
Well,
mentioned,
um, I'm not going to go into full detail because there's
okay.
still litigation pending.
Oh shit. Oh shit.
Yes.
Okay.
And attorneys are clever.
But just
And
for the honestly, just for the story and the lessons taken from it, you know.
we're constantly manifesting.
Okay. Number
That
one.
that that that's the number one. Okay, where do I even start with this one? Okay, that occurred in October of 23.
Okay.
And note for your listeners, car wreck litigation can take forever. This is a
Oh
year and a
wow.
half later, and it's still pending.
Hmm.
So don't expect a quick settlement.
Is
Um,
there, before you go again any further, is there a backstory to this? Because if I remember well, at the time there were some things that you wanted to change about your car or about your life, and that happened after. So just sprinkle a little bit more in there.
um,
The
a
floor is yours now.
little more seasoning. I First of all, we get to have it all. So it was the weekend of my mom's birthday, and it was also the weekend of my men's group's fall meetup in Salt Lake City. And I was living in Chattanooga at the time, and my parents are in Pittsburgh. So I had plans to fly to Salt Lake City, and I wasn't going to be home for my mom's birthday. And like, well, I get to have it all. So I drove back to Pittsburgh, changed my flight from Pittsburgh to Salt Lake City, and was able to be back in time for my mom's birthday. So I was able to do both. And on the way up to Pittsburgh driving, my car was making a noise. And things happen, fine. Cars make noise. And it had been doing that for a while, and I was getting severely agitated with it. So I the car was 7 years old. It had 170 some thousand miles on it.
Well,
And it was time for a new car, but I wasn't generating an income at the time. And I looked into trading the car in, I don't know, a year or two prior, and the dealers were going to give me a good deal. They were going to give me, $1,800 or $2,000 for my car. And I said, no. I said, I'm not going to do that. And a lot of people were like, well, you need to get a new car. You should get a new car. I said, nah, I'm keeping this car and I'm running it into the ground. That's what I said. I'm going to keep it till I run it into the ground. Fine. Keep that in the
in
back here. Keep that in mind. So I'm driving back to Pennsylvania. It's making a noise. Fine. I'm driving around Pennsylvania and I hear snap and something broke. So I had to get my car towed to the dealership, and I was leaving for Salt Lake City the next day. So, fine. they're working on my car. My dad immediately goes into catastrophe mode. Like, ah, it's going to be $3,000 and that's worth more than your car, blah, blah, blah. Like, nope. And I just made up a number. I said, it's going to be $888 or less. That's fine. So while I was in Salt Lake, I got a message from the dealer, like, hey, your car's done. I said, can I pay online so someone else can pick it up? Yep. Looked online. It was less, it was $650 or $700 for whatever they did. Perfect. Call up my dad. I said, hey, can you go pick up my car? So it's back at the house because I'm not getting back till Sunday. He said, yep, no problem. So I get back to my parents' house from Salt Lake. I go out to my car, and the car dealers put those tags in the rearview mirror and then put the tags on the keychain so things don't get lost. And they're numbers. So my dad had left it in there from the dealership, and then when I looked at my car, the tag said 888.
Oh my God. Wow.
Yeah,
Oh my God. Okay. First goosebumps of the day.
yeah. So that's funny.
Yeah. So funny.
That's funny. So I kept the little tag and I kept it in my car. So did my mom's when we did my mom's birthday, had cake, ice cream, all that fun stuff. And then I was leaving for Chattanooga the next day. I had a nudge, like, you should leave tonight. Like, I don't wanna I don't wanna drive part way and then have to get a hotel because I was in my scarcity. Like,
Mm.
yeah, you have to go, I have to pay. So I can leave in the morning. It's only 9 hours. I can do it. The following day, this woman I was dating at the time was going to come visit me from Chicago. So, I've got to get down there. Like, I got a woman coming. I gotta get down there. So, um, back down to Chattanooga. So I leave at 6 o'clock in the morning the next day. It was a Monday morning, and I'm driving my car, and it's running smooth. And it's been giving me like little things, I don't know, were just annoying me for a couple months, but there was no noise, there's no vibration, there was no nothing. Everything was just perfect. And I was in love with that car. Like, oh my God. And I'm driving down the highway and I'm just, oh, I love this. That it's fixed because it was like chasing the diagnostic of like trying to figure out what was wrong. I love this. And then I made up my mind. I said, and it's time for a new car. Car, I love you. Keep in mind, I'm driving. It's 6 o'clock, 6:20 in the morning. I love you, car. You've done me well. And it's time for something new. And this is October. And, like, I'll buy a car in the spring. I can't afford a car. The thoughts start. I can't afford a car. How can I afford a new car? I can't. I'm not generating an income right now. How about so all those thoughts started. You can't do this. Well, maybe I could. No, you can't do that either. And then I caught myself. That's not the mindset. So I did like Abraham Hicks rampage kind of thing. Like, it's so wonderful. Like, I'm gonna have this new car. I have this new car, and then I started thinking like, how can how can I get a new car? La 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 la. I'm gonna get this new car. And I don't know what song was playing on the radio, but I love the song. And I'm driving, and the car's perfect, and I'm just so happy. And I'm gonna get this new car. I'm gonna get this new car. It's gonna be amazing. And about 20 minutes later, 20 minutes, I was in Morgantown, West Virginia, and there was a construction zone, and it was telling me where I was going to get in the left lane, and traffic was stopped. And I came up over this little rise, and traffic was stopped. I'm like, uh-oh. So luckily, I was in the left lane, and there's all these cars on my right, and I'm coming up on this car, and I see headlights behind me, and I made the split-second decision of, I don't, I don't think I'm going to make it. I don't want to hit this person in front of me. I don't want to be an accordion behind me. I can't go to the right, so I went to the left, and I went into the grass median strip. I had slowed way down, but I still moved over out of precaution. And as I was in this grass median looking to my right to make sure I was clearing the car that was in front of me, pow, this pickup truck hits me from behind. And when it happens, it, it, what's going on? Like there's just complete confusion, and I just remember like trying to control my car, and I'm in this grass median strip, and I can't understand why I'm hurting. I can't understand like it was like a blackness kind of thing, time distorted, and my car came to a stop, and then went to the hospital and all that stuff. And when the litigation is over, I will have my new car. I didn't specify I will have my new car with safety, grace, and ease.
Right.
I,
Right.
I didn't specify that. I should have specified that. And since I got rear-ended and pushed into the dirt of the grass median, I literally drove that car until it was ran into the ground.
Oh my God.
It literally was
Yeah.
in the ground.
Wow. I mean, talk about powerful words that we speak.
Yes. Yes, we're constantly manifesting. And because I was such a, I was saying that just nonchalantly.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So over the years, and that was the cumulative effect.
Yeah.
And then I was in such a amazing state because I was in joy of my car being fixed, and I was listening to this song. So 20 minutes later,
It is. There's a
that's all
manifestation.
it took.
This is why I said at the beginning that I'm surprised that everything is going smoothly, because with you, things just happen like that. Just really fast, and things just happen.
Well, I was dancing my butt off last night to 80s music at a club, so I'm probably energetically exhausted. That's why nothing's happening.
That's awesome. So see, now
Yeah.
you mentioned that. Let's go there. Let's go there. Let's do that. Because I know, first of all, I'm curious somehow, how are you funding all this travel adventure of yours? Because I'm curious, a lot of people that want to do that, that want to travel, that want to just be in their car and have freedom of time. Of course, again, if it's something that you would want to share. If it's something that's dodgy and you don't want to talk about it, cool, we can leave it aside. So if you want to answer that first, cool. If not, we can jump straight to this thing that you're doing with the ice cream, because
Mm-mm.
you go from place to place and you try ice cream.
Yeah,
But
I
what
do.
is that? Like, where did it start, and how did you have this idea of just eating ice cream and talking consciousness, basically? Cogs are going.
I kind of morphed into what it is,
Okay.
and I'm a perfectionist and an analyzer by default.
Mm,
So like things have to be a certain way. Blah, blah, blah. So I didn't do anything. And
mm,
um, same coach of mine, Mike. We were at a we were discussing, I think, distortions and how when we're little, our wires get crossed, and then we come up with stories and we come up with filters of how we see reality, and it blocks our authenticity. So our entire life is basically our journey back to authenticity, our own selves that we've clouded with nonsense. And of course, it's more profound than that, but I'm summarizing.
mhm,
And every time I went somewhere, I would find an ice cream shop. And it became the running joke in my men's group that, like, where's James? Oh, he's probably at an ice cream shop. And then, I would walk in, and someone would be saying something like, "Oh yeah, a couple blocks down, there's this really good place called blah blah blah." And then when we broke for lunch, we would go. I would take them there. And of course, it's amazing ice cream. So it started with Facebook posts like, "Hey, here's me, like shoving ice cream in
mhm,
my mouth." And in the coaching end of it, back to authenticity, we were talked about things, and just, you can't go wrong when you double down on who you are, because I'm not trying to be anybody else.
mhm,
And I love ice cream. And another another guy I follow, John DeMartini, he always says, like, figure out what you like to do, or what you like to do, just figure out a way to get paid doing it.
mhm, mhm,
So um, all of that put together, like, another group I'm in, we actually had somebody that has a YouTube channel come into our group and give us like an hour presentation on putting a YouTube channel together, and like his do and don'ts that he learned. So there was all these little pieces floating, and I just didn't put it together
mm,
because I was kind of already doing it. And then I was in the I was just in, like, maybe I'll do some ice cream shop things, maybe. But I was in my head about what to call it because I couldn't do it unless I called it something. And I was in the car with my buddy. He was taking me back to the airport from one of our group meetups, and then it just popped. We were just joking, like, maybe this, and it just popped in. Actually, two scoops of clarity is what popped in first, and then we were both like, "Oh my God, that's it." But I changed it to scoop of clarity because it's just, to me, it's that felt better. But
mhm,
once I started doing it, um, already was doing it. Now I just happen to record it a little bit more, and there's always something going on, you know? Like, you could probably talk for hours on something that happened yesterday and like really pick it apart. Like, here's some lessons learned. There's just attached to this, and here's some lessons learned. And so whatever comes up, like, that's it. Here's some coaching wisdom. This is what's going on. And then the fact that I'm on the road, like, there's always this new stimuli of a place. Like, these are new flavors. This is amazing. I love this. I never had this before. And then being in a new area, like, I didn't know they did that here. This reminds me of this. Like, so I like it because it's constant change. And why not? You
That
know,
is that is a really, I don't know, I find change challenging sometimes. So, how do you cope with change, especially because you said you're on the road quite a lot? And in the past, I was gonna say 4 months, five, but maybe. in the past year and a half at this point, it's been so much change. There's been so much change in my life. And sometimes I've noticed that I navigate it with ease. Sometimes it's hard as fuck, to put it lightly. So, how do you navigate when you move so often, when you go to so many places? Do you have certain routines that keep you grounded into where you are in present? Or maybe I'm just talking out of my experiences, or what I would want to experience every time there's some change going on. How do you manage change? Because you said it's fun. So I'm imagining for you it's a fun thing to do. For me, it's a freaking struggle sometimes, but I'm imagining people are different. So I'd like to know your navigation of it.
It's both. It's
Okay.
generally fun. I do have my challenges.
Right.
Um, the biggest challenge for me is the solitude
Mm,
because I'm somewhere new
mm-hmm,
and I don't know anyone. It's a everything can go either way. Blessing, curse, good, bad. But then all things are neutral. So it all
mm,
depends on how I look at it.
mm,
So um, I go to an ice cream shop. I'm like, oh my God, this is amazing. I've never had this. I'd never heard of this. I'm gonna try this. So I'm like, I'm loving it, and I'm doing a video on whatever, and then I'm okay, end recording. So then people watch that and like, oh, he's living his best life, la 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 la. But then after the recording, I look over in the distance and there's a couple people, friends or maybe a couple, and
mm,
they're laughing and having a good time, and then there I am.
mm,
So that's the duality of things. Yes, it exists, but then it's what I make of it.
mm-hmm,
I'm sitting in an ice cream shop. I'm sitting in a restaurant. I'm sitting in a coffee shop. I am sitting at a two-person table with one empty seat. Like those are the facts.
mm,
If I choose to, I'm alone. No one wants to be with me. And sometimes I go down that path.
yeah.
I'm all by myself. Like that's challenging to me. Like the mechanics of, well, I'm gonna go this way. I'm gonna go this way. Like I don't know where I'm gonna stay. Like, oh, I'll find here. Okay, no problem. I'll get an Airbnb. Yep, no problem. Here's whatever. The mechanics, that's easy now, because yes, situations are different, but there's still a general theme of getting someplace
Mm-hmm,
safely with ease and grace,
mm.
and
Now you remember
find,
to put that in.
yes, safely with ease and grace.
I gotta write that down because I like that. Safely with ease and grace.
Right, because you can get there safely and then have traffic the entire time and white knuckle it and be miserable, but no, with ease and grace. And the mechanics are all about the same. It's just the emotional part of it that can be the struggle. I'm in Austin, Texas. Austin, Texas is amazing. I went dancing last night by myself. I don't know. Actually, there's two people I know that are here. One that lives here and another one that's just here for the week. A third person I know is going to be here next week, but they weren't available last night.
Mm-hmm.
I still wanted to go dancing. I love 80s music.
Isn't Sage there? Isn't Sage in Texas? In Austin?
Phoenix, she moved.
Ah,
Yeah,
'cause I thought, oh, maybe you can go and see her,
yeah.
or maybe she was one of the people you're talking about. But okay.
Mm-mm. No, she moved, and so I could have went into the conversation of, well, uh, I don't have anyone to go with, and I can't go by myself. I'll look weird. No,
Yeah.
I went. Was it challenging? Yes. Did I scope the place out first to see if I even wanted to go inside? Absolutely.
Nice.
Did I stand outside pretending that I was like
A weirdo.
The checking, wow, yeah, that's constant. But um, like, oh, this is a good time to check some text messages.
Yeah, yeah,
It's
yeah.
it's 9:30, 10 o'clock at night. A lot of my friends are on the East Coast. They're in bed, but yeah, it was Central Time, so they're an hour ahead and they're in bed. But yeah, I'm gonna check some text messages anyway. It's a good decoy to check the place out, you know. So, I have my games. And
Yeah.
then finally, I looked over and there were more people in line. Yeah, whatever, I'll go in.
Mm-hmm.
So I went in.
Mm-hmm.
And was it a place that I would see myself in 5 years ago? No. But I was there and they had amazing 80s music playing. And when 80s music's playing, that foot starts to tap. Like, okay. And then before I knew it, I was out on the dance floor by myself. I was like Billy Idol, dancing with myself. And
Isn't that the greatest though?
yeah, and I had a blast. And I don't know, an hour and a half later, it was just this uh, whatever dance floor, and they had a little bit of a, I don't even want to call it a stage, but it was an elevated platform at the end of the room. And the disco ball and lights are going on, and there's a screen with the music video playing. And an hour and a half later, I was center at the top and overlooking everything. And I was facing out, and I'm doing my thing, and I was having a great time. And
That's
I
so
was there on my own.
that's so awesome. I so love that because it's in my head, it's easier for men to do that on their own than it is for women.
Totally.
But obviously not, because you still have to go through your own whatever feels safe for you to do. But I love the fact that whoever's listening, watching this, you can do things on your own. You don't have to wait for anybody because this is such a big block for a lot of people, that, oh, but I don't have who to go with. Go bloody go on your own and you have so much bloody fun. So that's so awesome. I
Yeah.
love it. Even
Yeah.
though it was 80s music, which pass me the vomit bucket. I am not a fan of it. Even though, do you know Duran Duran?
Of
Probably.
course. Well, I don't know them personally, but yes, I
I
know of
had a
them.
song before we got on this call. I had a song in my head of theirs, and I wonder if it was from you. Ordinary World.
Oh, I love Ordinary World.
I do. There are certain songs that I do
Hmm.
enjoy, and that was one of them. I don't know. The Duran Duran are a funny
There's an
band.
ordinary world.
Yeah, that was.
Somehow I have to find.
Yeah,
That's a great song.
it
Not too
is.
much to dance to, but you can like sway
Yes,
to it.
it's swaying to. It doesn't matter. See, it's great if you can find anything to do. Like you said, just the foot can go. Ooh.
Yeah, yeah. So anyone can do anything on their own. Now, yes, talking about safety and ease and grace, there is the element of safety. Like men can do certain things easier on
Mm-hmm.
their own. Like a woman that would have gone out on her own at night dancing, if she thought she would be safe, she would be safe.
Mm-hmm.
But then also like some dudes are creepy, and like a woman by herself, like guys, quit being creepy. Like you're giving our gender a bad rap. So that there's that element of it. But on the flip side, if a woman is on her own, typically like another woman or maybe some other women might take her in, and
Mm-hmm.
it seems to be easier for women to make friends. Like,
Mm-hmm.
oh hey, yeah, I'm traveling, I'm on my own. Oh hey, girlfriend, come over here, and then they'll have a blast. But if a dude is by himself,
Yeah,
he's usually by himself,
yeah.
because if a dude walks up to a girl and like tries to strike up conversation, typically the girl will be like, he wants in my pants. And then it, there's not much of an opportunity for anything to blossom, friendship or just casual conversation, because she's already made the determination that he wants in my pants.
Yeah.
If a dude walks up to a dude and says, "Hey, how you doing?" Usually the dude will think he wants in my pants. Bec-
I knew you were gonna say that. I knew
And
you were.
then the guy's like, "Nope,
Oh, that's so funny.
I'm
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 good.
good. I'm good. Pleasure to meet you." And then that's it. So it, at least in my experience, again, not there are no rules, but at
Yeah.
least from my experience and my observations, that's the case.
Mm.
It's safer for guys to go out on their own, but it's easier for, I
Yeah,
can't think of another word for
yeah.
women to go out on their own.
So I don't know if how we got into this conversation without me asking what started this traveling mode for you. What brought that on?
Because I could.
Okay, and you just decided that that's it. I'm gonna get in my car and bugger off.
Yes and no. Like I was saying earlier, like I didn't have a reason to return.
Mm,
I was attending a workshop in Tennessee, and then I was going to attend another workshop in Arizona. But tied back, see, everything ties together. Tied back to the car wreck, I was still experiencing anxiety driving,
mm,
and especially in traffic, and especially in construction zones. Like, oh my God, traffic stop! I'm like looking in the mirror and like freaking out. So, um, in my old career in the oil and gas industry, it involved a lot of driving. And for a while, I was attempting to get back into that. And some of the job postings, like you have to drive 1,000 miles a week, go from house to house because sit at people's tables, kitchen tables, and have discussions and get them to sign contracts. And if I'm experiencing anxiety driving,
mm,
I didn't want to be on the clock or somewhere and get fired
mm.
because like I can't drive. And there were moments where I was still like, I can't do this. So that was part of it too, because basically it was exposure therapy. Like, really, the only way to get over something is through it, and let it work its course. So I was mostly okay when I was driving across the United States until I got to Los Angeles.
Why? What's so bad about Los Angeles, or what happened?
And
Is it
it's
just?
just traffic everywhere,
Mm,
and people are constantly distracted and on their phones, and all these stupid new cars with their auto brake technology. So when people cut in front of you or cut in front of a car, like all these cars brake for no reason. And like I was just a complete nervous wreck,
mm,
especially when I was in the middle of the United States. It's vast, it's open road. You can go uh, for miles and not see another car. And
mhm.
then, shoop, I end up in LA, and then there's just hell everywhere. That was awful. It was absolutely awful, but I needed that.
What did you do in LA?
It would, I drove through traffic and I just
Thank you for
got the hell out.
that. Oh lordy, I know
I
you've
got the
been.
hell out. That
I
was
know.
it.
I know you went to see Estelle. Oh,
Mm,
a few weeks ago, maybe.
yeah, 2 weeks ago now, I think.
Yeah. How was
Yeah,
that?
that was. She's so fun. I love her.
Do you know I want to get her on this podcast, and I think it's been a year now when I first asked her, and
Yeah.
some she had something going on with her throat, and then it took her a while to heal, and then I would ask her, and she never replied. So now I gotta poke her. I so want to have her on here to, but part of me thinks she doesn't want to because of her magic, you know, and I don't know, maybe she will one day, maybe she'll say yes one day. But what was it like? Because I miss her so much, I miss her so much. And she sent
I
me a picture of you too, and I was like, oh my god.
yeah, I love the little slice of heaven
Mm,
that they built.
mm-hmm,
And their house just has this welcoming warmth
mm,
to it. and then the backyard area that, she has all these plants all over the place, and wind chimes. And
Yeah.
I took a video and I put it on my Instagram of the one wind chime that it had three horizontal things that spun, but then on the horizontal thing were different sized cups that spun vertically. So it was this like constant moving thing, and I was just mesmerized by it. And for whatever reason, I just needed to be there.
Mm,
And her and I had a lot of good conversations, and the theme the theme that kept coming up was allowing.
mm,
Like, and like it was like, nudge nudge, she was telling me you get to allow things to unfold. So I've been really sitting with that. And that was about 10 days after I attended the Dr. Joe event.
mhm,
And then that was before I came here to Austin. So I was still integrating things from the event because I had a lot of amazing experiences from that, and completely different too than other events.
mm,
So like, I'm processing this, but then my inner critic ego is still like wanting to figure things out. It has to be this particular way. And like, no, dude, allow. Just allow it to unfold. But no, 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 no. No, you can't. You can. And I've been taking that to heart, at least here, the best of my abilities. It's still a muscle I'm working on.
mhm,
I've been doing that here. What Airbnb? Like, maybe this. I can go here and say, nah, just allow it to unfold.
mhm,
Set the intention and then allow it to unfold. And that was a part of the theme in my men's group. We talked a little bit about trust and faith, like a distinction.
mhm,
And that tied into the allowing that she was talking about. And um, trust, if I can remember these distinctions yet, trust is moving like into the unknown, and it's an action, and faith is more like knowing that it's all going to work out for me. So I'm pretty good at trust because like, I'm just going to go do this. Like, I'm going to go here. I'm going to go here. But there's still this program in the back of my head about the faith of it all working out in my favor. And then that ties into the allowing, because if I don't allow it, even if I have the faith, I don't allow it, or I do allow it, but then I don't believe it.
It's funny you're making this distinction between trust and faith because, and even as you were speaking it, I was thinking, I don't know where I heard this thing about knowing and believing. I think it
Hmm.
was, I think that was the distinction. Because when you believe something, oh my God, I don't know how it was put. Now I'm probably making up stuff, but there was such a massive difference in between knowing. See, now I want to say it was the belief part. Because when you believe, there's some doubt in there. But see, now I can't remember exactly how it goes, so I'm not just
Hmm.
gonna, I'm just not gonna think about it. But there's a massive difference when you know something.
Right,
I
right.
think
Like,
faith,
I,
that ties in with the faith part,
I can believe the stove is hot.
right?
I can believe it. And then I can look at the evidence of it. Like, oh, the top is red. Oh, the pot has steam coming off of it. So now I have supporting evidence of my belief. I know it's hot, but until I put my hand on it and actually like feel the heat and possibly burn myself, I don't have that embodied knowing of it being hot.
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah, it's total like and you could have the belief that it's not. Like,
Mhm.
touch
Mhm.
it and be fine if your belief is strong enough.
Mhm.
And a lot of people, this is one of the things that came up at the retreat. I was talking to one of my teammates, and she was talking about self-doubt, because you mentioned doubt. Like, I don't trust that I'm making the right decisions. I doubt that I'm making the right decisions. And she was in that narrative, and I was thinking, like, not really, because you're trusting in the belief that you're making the wrong
Yes.
decisions.
You sound like Bashar now.
Yeah.
I think this is something that Bashar would speak about, the
Yes, it's
evil
very easy. No, 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 no. It's the belief.
day to you, sir. Good day.
Good day. Yeah. And he's right. He's
Mm,
absolutely right, because we think these things, and we're up here in this storm of belief. Like, it has to be this way, but there's always something else that's driving it. That's the root cause belief, and that's a lot of the stuff that I like digging into in some of the coaching I've done, because someone will say, like, well, I have this problem. I have this time management problem. We're like, oh, if they would just do this. Like, okay, fine. 90% of the time, the thing that the person is pointing their finger to is not at all what is actually driving things.
mhm,
So, yeah, doubt, trust, faith, allowing, belief, they're all distinct in their own ways, but they're so interconnected
mhm.
that we can't double down on one thing, or pluck that one string, because then everything else will fall apart. But it kind of all goes in unison. At least my belief of it today. I could have I could have some experience in the future that might unravel that.
Yeah, well, all in divine time and good time, whatever. Time will tell. Sir,
Time,
I've got
time,
a
time will tell. Yeah, I've had certain templates or structures
hmm
that I thought were true until I got an experience that tested that otherwise,
hmm
and I got to shift my perspective.
mm.
The key is not being right about it, or insisting that I'm right about it. I should put it that
Christina,
way.
you mentioned you've had some experiences and whatnot, and I straight up thought of the M and Scott retreats that you've been at. And the question that arose out of that is, are you going to the one 20 something of May? Are you going to that one that they're hosting? You are, aren't you?
Do you have like some kind of spy software on my
No,
calendar?
not yet. I just know they're hosting. I can't remember now. See, I don't know. But yeah, it's 20th
Yeah,
to
yeah, in
something.
2 weeks.
So you're going.
hmm
Oh, are you excited about going?
I'm looking forward to it. The excitement hasn't started
Well,
yet.
mm-hmm. That,
Basically because I'm here, and
yeah, your
that,
presence. Yeah.
speaking about before things constantly changing, I have
Yeah,
noticed that there's there's usually an immediacy effect of, like, I get to have this resolved first, and I get to do this first. And then
yeah.
once that's settled, then the long horizon things, like, oh yeah, I'm excited about it.
hmm
So
How are
yeah,
you?
I'm looking forward to it.
How are you getting there? Is it in Florida?
It is in Florida.
Is it gonna be brum brum in your car, or are you flying there?
No, this is a lesson in trust and intuition. Um, because I decided that I was gonna, drive to Texas, and then there's this workshop in Florida, which
Mm-hmm.
is, I don't know, 14 hours, 16 hours or something, whatever it is, 2 days driving.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was going to drive back up to Pennsylvania. But then in July, I'm going to Montana. So I'm like, that's a lot of driving. I had applied for a corporate job in Ohio. So I was in my mind of thinking, like, I get to be back for that. I get to
Yeah.
be back for that. And so put that together, add that in the soup. I have a friend that lives in New Orleans, and I was going to call him, be like, hey, I'm going to be passing through. Let's get together. And then something was like, don't call him. Just so I didn't. And it's like, don't call him. Well, now I'm not driving because the day I left Pennsylvania, I got the thanks but no thanks email from that company.
Mm-hmm.
So now I definitely didn't need to go back to Pennsylvania. So, and going to Glacier National Park from Dallas, Texas is about the same distance as it is from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. I don't know, give or take 100 miles. So I said, F it, I'm just going to fly to Florida
Mm-hmm.
from Dallas and leave my car there. That was before I decided to stay in Austin for 2 weeks. So, but it's going to cost more money to change my flight to Austin than it is to just drive to Dallas, which is fine because I have friends that live in Dallas. I'll go hang out with them again. But Dallas is further north than Austin, so it's closer to Montana, which is the direction I need to go anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So that nudge about not calling my buddy to, not that I didn't want to talk to him, but I didn't want to like get him excited about, oh, I'm going to be passing through. So
Yeah.
I'm definitely not passing through. I'm going to be flying Dallas to Orlando, and one of the attendees um, is coming into Orlando also. And I was able to get a flight that arrives 15 minutes before hers. She's renting a car, so the
You're good.
logistics to the
Solution.
to the place, everything's taken care of.
Nice.
Magic.
It is. And I love
Yeah.
that. And everything, just all the
And
pieces. And
and the I just got the address, I don't know, yesterday or the day before of the place we're staying. It is closer to the two ice cream shops that I found that I originally anticipated.
that's so funny. That is so funny.
So not only we're gonna have magic, I'm gonna make sure we get ice cream too. It's gonna be great.
And have some scoops of clarity as you're while you're there too. That is so awesome. I
Yeah,
love that. I know it
yeah,
sounds honestly like this whole thing, this whole conversation that we had so far, it's been like a magic intertwining of energies. Things just
that's
come
life.
in and flow. But I love, I guess, your view on everything. It just feels very light-hearted. Maybe that's not how it feels for you, but from the
I have
outside,
my
that's
days.
yeah, of course, because we're all bloody human after all, so we all have our
Right.
days. But generally speaking, it feels like you're allowing, you know? It feels
I,
like you're
I'm yeah, I'm doing my best to allow.
yeah.
Um, but I mean, you're right. Like there's all these ebbs and flows, and one of the retreats that I did with Em and Scott was I had a lot of downloads of, and it was basically classroom time with the universe,
Oh wow.
and I was basically getting the instruction manual,
I'm gonna write this.
and it
I'm gonna
was
classroom classroom time with the universe.
yeah, because I would have a loose thought and it would affirm it, like, oh, maybe this is how things work. Correct. And, and I was getting instruction, and like everything's constantly in motion because, and I had this when I was out west last year. I had this thought because I was spending a lot of time by myself and hiking, so things come in. Um, the universe is constantly expanding. So like the physical universe itself is in a state of expansion, and we're constantly growing, like expanding mentally and our skill set and what we think is possible. When we don't is when we feel that stuck stagnation. So we feel that way, because it's basically opposite of how, the expansion of the universe it works. And when I was in this journey, it was almost like I was down into the building blocks of like not atoms, not molecules, not wave patterns, like actual little whatevers, and they were constantly in motion, and nothing sits still. Nothing sits still. There's always this energetic exchange,
Mhm.
and it's in everything. Everything. It's in things that we think are still, because I'm sure that you've read a text message or an email and you could feel what the person was saying
Yeah. Yeah.
because the energetics of it got imprinted into that text. Now, that's, you know, take note that we could be reading something through our perspective and through our filter. Like
Hmm.
if we're in a bad mood, we'll interpret in a bad mood. That aside, if you're really tuned in, you can pick up, like, if someone sends a loving card, and that you could just, like, with a nice little loving note or something, like, you can feel it, not just the words, but you can feel it, and that's that movement, and that's that expansion, which then causes us to move and expand. And then I'm going to go do this instead because I just read this card and it's amazing. So now I'm going to have this different experience. And that other person had to. So it all,
Mingles.
nothing stops ever.
Hmm. Nothing stop and nothing lasts forever.
Yeah,
E-
nothing stops.
That's what it feels like. I don't have any more questions for you at this moment.
Wow. Okay. I
Can you
did.
can you believe that? I was just waiting to see if there's anything else that's coming through, but not at the moment. The only thing that I've got in my head, and I've noticed every time when time stops, like it has when since we've started talking, and I don't realize where time is going.
Mhm.
Have this image that was in, I mean, it's described in the book The Celestine Prophecy, and it's also in the movie that's been made after it, where when there's two people meeting and they're both giving rather than one taking and one giving, the
Mhm.
energy amplifies, and it feels like that. It feels like we've both given in this, so it's been a mixture of whatever, and the energy just amplified,
Mhm.
and I'm very grateful for it.
Ah, grateful. Yay.
I am very grateful for you saying yes to this. And I think I have to give a shout out to Ninj, because she's the one that's like, have you ever thought of interviewing Nexus? And I'm like, that's such a good idea. I never even thought about it. So there you go.
Oh, I
That's
appreciate that. And I
that's how this
appreciate
came.
her for making
Yeah,
that suggestion.
yes. And I thought, you know what? You are such an interesting character. And you have
Thank you.
you can laugh, you can laugh.
Thank
And
you.
you've got so many, like even everything that you've shared today, I think there's so much gold and so many nuggets of wisdom in everything that you shared. I cannot wait for this to come out, to be honest, and it'll come out next week.
Ah,
So
next week. Okay, very good.
because I had such a long backlog of things that I had recorded, and they were
Hmm.
coming. I would record them a few months ago and they would come out a few months after.
Hmm.
Now I'm in time, in tune with everything. So you're gonna be next week.
Perfect. That you're you have a better flow than I do with my Scoop of Clarity videos.
Oh, that's another one. See, I'm probably gonna put your link for the Scoop of Clarity. Oh, and
Ah,
if you can share like your Instagram and everything that you've
ah,
spoken of,
yeah. So
send
Instagram,
me a message. Send me a message for them. And
okay.
I'll put in the
Yeah,
description. But go on.
I will. Yeah, Instagram and YouTube are both Scoop of Clarity. One
Yeah.
word. I I don't have a website yet, but like this is that whole process
Yeah.
of just
Yeah. Doesn't
things
matter. I
unfolding.
don't have a website either.
And yeah, because I went to an ice cream shop yesterday,
Mm.
and she's like, "Oh, what's your thing?" And I told her, I said, She's like, you mean not, this will be on here? I said, yeah, in probably 2 months or 3 months. So releasing one a week, like there were times last summer that I went to an ice cream shop every day.
Oh, wow.
And sometimes I went to two in one day.
Wow.
And I mean, right there, like if five in a week, but if I do one a month, well, now or one a week, now it's backlogged a month. So I'm going to
Yeah,
stick with that.
to be honest, that's what happened with me too. I probably put a post sometimes last year, to be honest. That's when I started in the summer in this podcasting group, and I had so many people reaching out that then I had quite a few recordings in a really short period of time, and they would just come out the same one a week. And
Hmm.
then it slowed down a little bit, and I kind of stopped in November and just restarted, I think, in January. But the same, I had such a backlog that even though I was recording quite a few, they would come just once a week, so it took a while
Yeah. I
for.
I thought about sending out more, but then I keep thinking back when I was little.
Mm,
The television show I liked was broadcast once a week.
mm,
And then what's happening next? Like I
hmm.
got to wait a week. So
Yeah,
there was that like anticipation a little bit,
yeah.
um, which I enjoyed, but then also if I put it all out once, then what would I do?
No,
But
you know what? That's where fear comes in, because that's my thought process too. Because I was thinking when I started doing this, I was thinking, oh, I can have this person, this person, this person out of the people that I know, right?
yeah,
And then I thought, what's gonna happen then? Or if I put more than one a week, I'm gonna run out of things. And then I thought, no, that's just fear talking. And then of
yeah, yeah.
it was
But
Ellie, because Ellie said, "Oh, there's podcast groups on Facebook that you can join."
oh, fun.
So
Okay,
then people can just you can find guests that way. So the same for you. You will always have ideas.
true,
You will
true.
always have
The
things.
the one part that is a little interesting because I was editing a video last week, or maybe it was 2 weeks ago now, but it was from a place that I was at in December.
Mm,
So the ice cream that I ate was it was a Christmas theme. It had there's these little Debbie cakes that are shaped like little Christmas trees.
hmm.
So it was a Christmas tree cake, or I think that's what it was called. And when I walked in, they were playing Christmas music. Like, wait a minute. And I was editing this two weeks ago, and I thought, you know what? Forget it. Like, who says Christmas time has to be December? But that one's an obvious lag,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
the other ones usually aren't because, like, whatever,
yeah,
most
yeah.
flavor. Yeah, there were some seasonal ones, but that makes it obvious. But the what I'm talking about, like the actual life path coaching stuff, like
Mhm.
that's timeless because that's just relating to the human condition.
And then if you think about it, there's many, especially in the way that we watch programs now. There are a lot of episodes, let's say. The one that I'm thinking right now is Big Bang Theory. I love that.
Hmm.
Oh, I love it so much. And then you watch it whenever you get time, and it could be summer, you're in the mid of summer, and then you watch an episode that's for Christmas. You know?
If if
So
anyone binge watched my videos, they would probably gain weight just by watching all the ice cream I ate.
diabetes because it's so much sugar.
Yeah, yeah. And then I forget what you commented on. I'm pretty sure that was you. It's like it should be the Wow Show, the Wow 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 Wow. Isn't that? I
No,
think
me. Was it?
I don't know. It might have been you because
Could have
I
been.
I say that a lot because I mean it captures the essence of what I'm eating. Like
Yeah,
wow, this is amazing.
yeah.
Wow. So um yeah, if someone binge watched that, like how many times is he gonna say wow?
I mean, as many
But
times as you need to.
yeah,
I
but
but
whatever. I have fun.
I love that part, because in a way it shows Oh God, the word is on the tip of my tongue. You know when you see everything through the eyes of the child, the innocence, not the innocence, the excitement of the present moment, right?
Ah,
The excitement of the newness. And there's always excitement, and you don't lose the excitement, basically, you know? Because then I think that's what happens with life for a lot of people. They lose the bloody excitement. Even though it's
mm,
ice cream and it's always ice cream, it's always a different flavor. So we always have different things that happen in life, but
mm-hmm,
it's always a different flavor, right? So you
mm-hmm,
don't lose the excitement for it. And I love that. So
mm-hmm.
the wowness, excitement, kind of cool.
The wildness, excitement, yes. And like that's, details matter because there's ice cream shops everywhere. But when I go, I make sure that it's a local place. It's small batch, homemade, artisanal, whatever words that are they use.
Mm-hmm.
But there's some ice cream shops that look like a homemade mom and pop shop,
Mm-hmm.
but they sell a national brand.
Mm-hmm.
And
You walk
sometimes
in,
it's what's that?
you walk in and then walk out.
Well, yeah, but sometimes it's obvious. They'll have the sticker of the national brand somewhere or on the
Mhm.
menu, or sometimes they hide it because some ice cream places ha the tubs of ice cream down in the cooler, you can't see the sides of the tubs because they have like some kind of cover on it.
Mhm.
So you're talking about the differences and then the inner child. So this is what made me think of that. I could go to a local place and I can have their vanilla or their chocolate or whatever, and it's amazing. And I can go to another local place and have the same flavor, label of flavor,
Mhm.
distinction,
Mhm.
but the taste is distinctly
Mhm.
different. It might be
Mhm.
similar in some context, like this one might be more chocolatey, or this one might be more cream, like whatever. They're different. But if I go to these other places that sell national brand vanilla, national
Mhm.
brand chocolate, and then I go to this other place that's a different place, but it's the same thing, then I'm fooling myself into a different experience, but
Mhm.
I'm getting the same thing.
Yeah.
The environment may be different, but I'm getting the same thing. So
Life.
that's that's just like life. Like if we're not aware of the subconscious programs, the things that are hidden,
Yeah.
like, oh look, I'm gonna fool myself with this new job. Oh look, I'm gonna fool myself with this new house or this new experience. But unless we deal with the shit that's underneath, we're just going to get the same experience
Yeah.
and not realize it and then bullshit ourselves and say, wow, that was a great bowl of ice cream.
Yes, I love that. I love that analogy. The ice cream analogy, because of course, analogy. I just said something else over there. I, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. We move on.
Everything goes back. I could probably channel everything back to an ice cream analogy.
Mhm. That's
But
pretty
I
awesome.
mean, it's true. So, and that goes, I did a video on standards. Like I thought about this one place, like, you know, it's an old school fountain shop. It looks neat. It's at an old school drugstore. I'll go. And I walked in and it kind of was, but they didn't make their own. They
Mm.
got it from somewhere else. And but I was there. Like, I'll try it.
Mhm.
It didn't meet my standard.
Mm. Mhm.
And the experience, like, there were no wows in that video, at least when I was eating the ice cream. And the the lesson there was, well, I get to have my standards because then that can control my experience. But then also, um, I did it. So instead of like coming up with all these reasons of, well, I'm too busy, I can't go, then I could have been stuck in the fantasy of, wow, that it probably was an amazing place, and I didn't go, and now I'll never know. And it's such an energy drain. I went. Was it the experience I wanted? Was it the standard? No. I get to refine my standard. And now I know that I don't have an energy leak on that place ever again because I'll never go back.
Mm-hmm.
So there's so many lessons learned there. Back to gratitude. Let's tie this back to gratitude. Like, I'm grateful I had that experience because there were so many lessons. And was the ice cream great? Not really, but I'm still grateful for it.
Mm-hmm.
Could I gotten to my buddy's place an hour sooner and had more fun hanging out with him? Yeah, probably. But I'm grateful that I stopped. Grateful no matter what.
Yeah.
And I was going to try to tie that together, and I just lost the thought.
I
I
think it
just
was
lost the thought.
all the things that you got out of it. That's where you kind of
Oh,
follow it.
yeah. Instead, like, typically people will go to, like, that sucked.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my
Mm-hmm.
God, that was awful. And then the next day, like, that was awful. I can't believe that. And then a week later, make sure you don't go there because that place, and they're just stuck in that awful experience. It was such a waste of time. Blah, 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 blah,
Yeah.
blah, blah, blah,
Oh my God, I had that story with the Bloody Brutalist. I don't know if you've seen the movie. I was so excited to go and see it, and I didn't want to know much about it. I just knew a little bit about the storyline and whatever. And then I went to see it, and the cinema was awful. So that was part one. And then the
blah.
movie was so disappointing in my head. Oh my God, I fucking hated it, to be honest. And then
Uh-huh.
I'm like, I was so excited. I got so excited about it. But then, just like you, I have learned that I'm never ever gonna go to that cinema again.
Yeah.
I don't know what else I've learned from it. I was glad that I was with Isaiah, so at least I spent time with the person that I love. So I
Hmm.
found something about it. But then every time somebody brings up the Brutalist, I'm like, no, don't go and see it. Just like you about your ice cream shop. I
Yeah.
would not recommend it to anybody, even
Yeah.
though it's other people enjoy it. Other people like it. Like Adrian Brody got an Oscar for his
Right.
role, and all that. But I had that same like no.
Don't go. But this isn't for me, but it might be for you.
Yes,
And
exactly.
I put that in my video because that went back to standards. For my standards, this doesn't work
Yeah,
for me.
yeah.
Was it good for me? Eh. W- was there a family there and a couple kids like having a great time? Yeah. The kid didn't care because they were shoving a chocolate sundae in their mouth and they were having a blast. So it wasn't for me, but it was clearly for them. And that
Mhm,
goes back to there is no right or wrong, there is no good or bad. All things are neutral.
mhm.
It's what we make of it.
So to wrap this up, I am gonna wrap it up with the gratitude part because
Yeah, I like
I
that.
feel that's where we started. This is where we're gonna end with the
Okay.
gratitude. Gratitude for all the stories that you shared, for all the lessons that I have learned from them, for the fact that you said yes to being my guest here
Hmm.
on this. Whoever watches it, every every now and then I get people that are like, oh my God, that really. So I get like a comment random here and there about just random people that were influenced somehow, by
Hmm.
the whatever the guest has shared. And I love that because that is my purpose generally with this, to connect people with people. So I'm very grateful for you saying yes and for sharing and for being so open and so transparent and authentic to your most current version of yourself.
Thank you. Thank you. I love
Thank you.
that. Wait.
In a
I'm gonna
minute.
end. I'm
Go
gonna
on, go
end
on,
with some gratitude.
go on.
I'm going to end with some gratitude. I am grateful as well that you invited me. I am grateful for the unfolding of how everything ended up being because you had messaged me, I don't know, a month ago, and I'm like, nope,
No.
this isn't like I'm on the road, this isn't going to work, and just for whatever reason, right now in this moment, everything was amazing. So I'm grateful for the unfolding, and yeah, grateful for you. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm grateful for you too.